Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me here today. Thank you. These ideas that I'd like to share with you come from a good friend of mine, Brian Tracy. And when he was building his business, he had applied these 7 ideas to his business, and over a 12-year period, he went from paying $14,500 tax in 1 year to 12 years later, paying more than $1,400,000 in tax. And after having a look at exactly what he did to become more successful, he took 7 ideas and he formulated the 1000% formula. So these ideas that I'm going to share with you today, they can increase your productivity, performance and output by 1000%. And they say that you can do this within 10 years. But in my life, what I've discovered is that by applying these, it actually happens a lot faster. In 2008, I was standing on the side of the freeways here in Sydney and I held a stop slow sign and I'd be directing traffic. The following year I was flying around the world as cabin crew. By 2012 I was leading a team of 17,000 cabin crew in Dubai. And as I looked at the increase of my income, I woke up one day in 2017 and my income had gone from $25 an hour to $2,500 per consulting hour. So I know these work in my life and I'd like to share them with you. I've also shared them with many people around Sydney. Single mothers, they've gone through a divorce, they've run their business, they're working 79 hours a week. They've been able to reduce their working hours by 17 hours per week while simultaneously increasing their income by 190%. So I know these work. I've worked with them, used these with companies in Melbourne. Their sales have been declining within 12 months, a 250% increase in sales. They increased their market share from 1% to 9.4%, and while simultaneously becoming the #1 leaders in Ray White in Victoria. So I know that these work. And if we just do what successful people do, we'll get the same results. And if you don't, you won't. So I encourage you today to apply these immediately. And if you apply these immediately today, by the end of today, you can increase your productivity by 25%. Does that sound good? Okay, let's have a look at these 7 ideas. Well, the first idea here of the 1000% formula is reading for 1 hour per day. What we know about reading is that most people read less than 1 book per year after they finish school. And out of 85% of books that are purchased in society, 85% are purchased by women. And 95% of books have never been completed. So what you can do starting today, you can start to read for an hour a day. And by the end of the year, you can read more than 50 books this year. But if you just read 3 books, you will know more than 95% of the population in your field, which will put you straight up into the top 1% of people in your field. Could you do that? 60 minutes a day of reading? 100%, exactly. Now, the second thing that successful people do is they review their goals on a daily basis. What we know is that 84% of the population don't have goals. Imagine that. 84% of the population don't have goals. 13% have dreams and aspirations, but they've never committed them to paper. And only 3% of the population have clear written goals, objectives, strategies and plans and actions for their attainment. And that 3% earn 10 times more than the 97% combined. So if you want to increase your productivity, performance and output by 1000%, just start writing your goals today. And what the top 1% of the population do is they review their goals on a daily basis. And if you do that, you'll start to increase your productivity, performance and output. Now, if you increase your productivity, performance and output by as little as 0.1% per day, you'll increase your productivity, performance and output by 0.5% this week, 2% this month, and by the end of the year, 26%. And in 10 years' time from now, you'll be 1,004% more productive. Could you improve your performance by as little as 0.1% today? Could you? Say yes. Absolutely. Good. Now, you've got to plan every day in advance. Now, the rule of planning is that for every 1 minute in planning, you'll save 10 minutes in execution. And all success is preceded by adequate planning. And all failure is preceded by a lack of planning. So what you can do today is to start by writing a list. Write down everything that you need to do. And as you start to tick these things off the list, you have this sense of achievement. And through a sense of achievement, you become more confident and your stress levels go down. Your doubts start to disappear. Because what we need in life is a constant victory. We need to constantly have a win. And if you plan your day in advance and you tick it off as you go, you'll start to apply the 1000% formula. Could you do that? Simple, isn't it? Very good. Now, as you have a look at your tasks, you need to make a list of everything that you need to do in a day. But then you've got to categorize it by what's urgent and important. And things that are urgent are often not important. And those things that are important are often not urgent. So you have to have a look at what's urgent and important. And you look down that list and you put an A beside everything that's urgent and important. Anything that's urgent and important should take at least 90 minutes to complete. If it doesn't take 90 minutes, it is not urgent and it is not important. All those tasks you will call B tasks. And you never do a B task before you do an A task. Once you've done your B task, you have a look at your C tasks. And these C tasks are things that are nice to do, but in the scheme of things, add no value to you or your business. We also have D tasks. These are tasks that you delegate. Anything less than your hourly pay, you should delegate to somebody else at a lower rate. So if you can do something that is worth $50 to your business, do that. But if it's worth less than $50, give it to somebody else. If it's a $10 task, give it to somebody else. Because when you do it, your value is only $10 per hour. And this is the reason for so much failure, is that 80% of the population spend their time on what's not urgent and what's not important. So starting today, if you do that, you'll increase your productivity, performance and output by 25% today. Number 4, best use of your time. You've got to have a look at what produces results. What we say in personal leadership is described as the ability to get results. As a leader in business, you have to get results from other people. So have a look at everything you do and ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now leading to a result? If it's not, stop. If you're scrolling through Facebook, ask yourself the question, is this leading to a new customer? If it's not, stop it. Fair enough? Good. Number 5, the average Australian spends about 500 hours to 1,000 hours traveling each and every year. Now, if you have a look at 500 to 1,000 hours, this is an education equivalent to a university level of education as you're driving around. So what you do is you turn your motor vehicle into a university on wheels, and you could listen to 50 audiobooks in a year. Now, to get a PhD in even astrophysics, you have to read about 30 to 50 books and then do a dissertation of those books. But the thing about going to university is they give you theoretical ideas that often have no application in the real world of business. So if you listen to audiobooks, you can pick and choose what you want to learn. By the end of the year, you can listen to 50 of those, but you'll have the equivalent of a practical PhD. It could be a practical PhD in the most important thing in your business, which is prospecting, finding new customers, and then converting them into clients. And if you studied this every single day, you'll have a PhD in sales. Could you do that? Would that be a great way to use your time? Absolutely. Number 6, at the end of everything that you do, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. And this is where you can become a coach in your own life. So after you do anything, ask yourself, what did I do right? And once you understand what you do right, you can make a mental checklist and you start to repeat these things and you drive these down into your subconscious mind. So when you come to this situation again in the future, your subconscious mind will say, I've done this before and this is what I did right last time. And you'll start to repeat success. The second thing you ask yourself after every experience is, what will I do differently next time? Most people think they have to focus on what they did wrong. But when you think about what you did wrong, you program that into your subconscious mind and you keep making the same mistake over and over again. So ask yourself, what will I do differently next time? You'll program this into your subconscious mind. When you do the exercise again, you'll say, this is what I need to do. And automatically you'll stop failing, you'll stop making mistakes, and you'll start to have success. Can you be your own coach in your own life? Say yes. Good, absolutely. Now, the 7th thing that all successful people do in the final part of the 1000% formula is to treat everybody like $1 million customer. If you treat everybody like they're $1 million customer, it will transform your life. Because 99% of the population have a simultaneous fear of rejection and criticism. So learn to make the first step. If a customer walked into your business today, you'd smile if you knew they were going to buy and spend $1 million. So walk over, say hello. And this gives people a need for recognition. And it satisfies that deep subconscious craving for recognition. And if you give them that, they will feel good. And by the law of reciprocity, they'll want to do something nice for you, which is to buy your products and services and refer you to their family and friends. So this is the 1000% formula. And if you just take one of these ideas today and improve your performance by 0.1% today, by the end of the year, you'll be 26% better. 10 years from now, you'll be earning 1,000 times more than you are today. So I hope these ideas are useful for you. And let me wrap up by saying that some of the best times of your life are still yet to come. The highest earning income that you'll ever have is out there in the future. And you're only limited by the actions that you take and the imagination that you have. So I hope these ideas have been valuable to you, and I hope that you have a wonderful future. Thank you.